This young girl went from a struggling nobody to a world-famous rock star with just a single role. In the volatile industry of voice acting in Japan, the risk of not getting enough roles to feed oneself is a glooming fear amongst amateurs and veterans alike. Just a single unsuccessful year could spell the end of your long built-up career. However, volatile implies the inverse as well, where careers can set off and blossom in the short time frame of a year. And that is exactly what happened to our subject today, Aoyama Yoshino, the charming voice actress of Hitorigoto Bocchi. Part 1. Early Childhood. Yoshino, or more widely known by her fanbase by the nickname Yoppi, was born in the rural prefecture of Kumamoto in Japan. Despite living far from the metropolitan city of Tokyo, her dream of becoming a voice actress started at the early stage of 5th grade, where she was inspired by anime her friends told her to watch, including the Melakoni of Haruhi Suzumiya, Lucky Star, and Sekire. However, her biggest inspiration was Bakemonogatari, where people around her would attempt to voice Nadeko and Senjo Gahara, inspiring her to do the same and gain an interest in voice acting. This interest was further bolstered by a skill in singing, as she did chorus the entire primary school up to middle school. She even said herself from as young as 6th grade that my voice is my only redeeming quality. Seeing all of this, it might be easy to think she lived a happy life in her childhood with absolutely no qualms, but that could not be further from the truth. Part 2. Childhood Hardships. As a young kid, Yoppi was often referred to as a yokya, a bright, extroverted person who would invite friends out all the time. But this quickly changed in middle school. Yoppi recalls an incident in which she volunteered to be the leader of a dance group, only to be mocked and laughed at by her peers for how bad she was. After the traumatizing incident, Yoppi became more reserved, being more akin to the nerd that reads books at the corner of a classroom. But that wasn't the end of her struggles. Yoppi grew up in a very strict Asian household, where games, anime, manga, and the like were banned. Yoppi recalls a story where her dad found her playing her Game Boy Advance and smashed it into pieces in front of her. This meant that all of her obsessive otaku activities like nico nico watching and gaming all had to be done in secrecy within the confines of her own house, away from her parents. But her passion was not going to die out just because someone told it to. She secretly started meddling with Vocaloid software such as Synthesizer V. She would cover songs under her parents' blanket while they were at work, and she applied for audition after audition for several years, only to fail again and again. But where many would give up and fall into despair, Yoppi didn't stop. And as if the goddess of hard work smiled upon her, after over 3 years of failures, in the first year of high school, she passed the first screening of an open voice actress audition, in which she would be called to Fukuoka, a big city, for the interview phase. See, she had done all the applications in secrecy from her parents, knowing they would stop her if she told them so, but needing to go far away from her hometown for the interview, she had no choice but to tell them, in which they reluctantly agreed to take her to Fukuoka, since she did pass the document screening stage. And in the end, although she said it turned into a huge ordeal in her family, she'd passed the interview stage as well, so her parents reluctantly ended up bringing her halfway across Japan to Tokyo. This would end up being the best decision of their life, as Yoppi passed the final stage and debut as a voice actress. Part 3. Initial Boom. Yoppi would debut at the young age of 17 as Nanase Yoshino in Wake Up Girls, a huge multimedia anime franchise, as part of an idol-like voice actress group. This means that the voice actress not only voices the character, but also performs in real-life concerts as the character, like Love Live or Idolmaster concerts, if you've ever seen them. Here we have Yoppi performing as Yoppi. What we didn't know at this point is this group would soon grow to be a nationwide phenomenon. Alongside the increasing success of the anime, the real-life idol group would have multiple concerts, even tours every year, with a rapid increase in scale, starting with humble halls with a capacity of a few hundred in 2014 to a constant few thousand in many venues for years to come. The name Wake Up Girls would be a widely known name by otakus all over Japan, whether you were an idol fan or not. Promotions were everywhere in weeb areas. I hadn't even watched my first anime at that point, and I'd heard the name Wake Up Girls somewhere I can't recall before. Granted, it wasn't the biggest thing in the world, not like it was mainstream, but it was a great success in its niche with an extremely loyal fan base. I mean, you know how idol fans are. This ultimately brings us all the way to a grand venue many musicians dream of performing on at their final live. Yes, unfortunately, in 2018, the Wake Up Girls announced that their idol unit would be disbanding, but not without a huge bang. They announced their final live to be in Saitama Super Arena, a majestic dome with a capacity of near 40,000 people, and ended up performing in front of 13,000 fans, retiring at the peak of their idol career. For Yoppi, these were years of success many people look for their entire lives. I mean, how many musicians can claim they've performed with an audience of over 10,000? But with the end of this success story came a huge problem. Part 4. The voice actress struggle. See, Yoppi had been successful, but more as an idol than a voice actress. Once this phase ended, Yoppi would once again return to the struggling phase of finding a breakout role starting in 2019. Yes, she did get a few small supporting roles here and there, but none that broke out into the anime mainstream. No main characters whose anime would blow up online. They were all side characters with 2 lines in the entire anime. And the problem, like with many voice actors, would last for years to come. Between the years 2019 and 2022, the biggest role she got was... Honestly, yeah, that's impressive in a way, and some other small anime roles. She did get a bunch of small work as a seiyuu, like radios, audiobooks, live reading, but these weren't things that would have any drastic effect on her popularity. Not exactly things you'd be bragging about on your CV. On the personal side of things, in 2019, she had just graduated college. Damn, she did all the Wake Up Girl stuff while doing college. That's crazy. Imagine your classmate as an idol that just performed at a dome. Point being, no longer a student, she would need a way to support herself financially. In 2020 March, she would even announce a hiatus due to health reasons, although she would return just a month later. She also debuted as a solo artist in March 2022, but that didn't do very well initially with just a couple thousand views. The main problem was just after Wake Up Girls, she could barely retain eyes on her anymore. She couldn't find fame outside of Wake Up Girls. With a multitude of difficulties in both career and personal life, all seemed to be looking at a downward spiral, and for years, just nothing seemed to go right. It seemed like the end of the road for Yoppi, until a miracle happened. Part 5. Bocchi of The Rock. Yoppi would voice Goto Hitori, known to us as Bocchi, in fall 2022, and this anime would be her one-way ticket to fame. Bocchi the Rock became one of the biggest anime of the modern era in the Japanese and Western world alike. The anime at one point would hit a top 10 score of all time on my anime list. It received awards, memes would get millions of views. I loved it, you loved it, we all loved it. Who doesn't like Bocchi? The anime was a hidden gem that completely blew up due to its amazing comedy, music, animation, characters, the whole package. It would create a community of schizo, socially anxious people and unite us as one. Yoppi's career skyrocketed. Yoppi hosted the official Bocchi the Rock radio, which would reveal her real personality. Bocchi. She would tell stories of being isolated in her college days, hating phone calls, hating on couples like a true weeb, and
you black is no.
No. They literally found a real-life Bocchi to voice Bocchi. It's crazy. These relatable and straight-up comedy moments struck a chord with the general audience, and the radio show would go on to win 3 awards. Best Radio, Best Female Radio, and Funniest Radio Awards. And as a measure of its success, despite the anime having aired 2 years ago, the radio still continues to this very day. I highly recommend checking it out, even just the translated clips on YouTube. Every story is a wild ride. It's like you're actually watching Bocchi the anime in real life. But even with 3 awards, this wasn't her greatest achievement as Bocchi. Part 6. Kesokubando. Kesokubando, the pinnacle of J-pop that continues to trend to this very day, easily topping top 10 charts in Japan. Kesokubando was the band formed in the anime by our main characters, amounting insane levels of success with music videos in the tens of millions of views and songs winning official awards. Today, it is the anime band. The anime Kesokobando was a staggering viral hit, so naturally followed the real-life band. Yes, in a way similar to Wake Up Girls, the voice actresses of Kesokobando formed, well, Kesokobando in real life, which would go on to perform on stage with immediate success. Following their first concert in a venue of thousands would be several new singles and 2 tours around Japan. At the official 18th Seiyuu Awards, Kesokobando would go on to win the Best Artist Award. For a non-idol band anime, this level of success is an extreme rarity, a once-in-a-decade thing not seen since K-On! What's amazing is, ever since the initial success of Bocchi, just like her character, Yoppi started to learn the guitar and even as an amateur, performed on stage, just like Guitar Hero Bocchi. Her progress is constantly being shown online and it is just an inspiring journey to watch. We're all cheering for her, all waiting for her to pull a Guitar Hero one day. Even without a season 2 of Bocchi The Rock announced, the hype train of Kesokobando has not come to a halt in the 2 years since the anime aired, and Yoppi, alongside Kesokobando, is looking to a bright future. The effect of Bocchi The Rock has been evident on Yoppi's personal career as well. Ever since the boom in Bocchi, many that have discovered her through Bocchi have come to give her a respectable following as an artist, with many in the comments having come after Bocchi airing, stating, "Damn, Bocchi can sing!" She has done several lives since then and even did her first solo tour around Japan last year, with no signs of stopping. On the voice acting side of things, although nothing as big as Bocchi, she has had far more roles per season. In decently big anime such as Alia sometimes hides her feelings in Russian, and even Pokemon. No doubt, all of this will continue to grow as her fame rises over time. Yoppi's life journey has been a wild one, with many successes and failures along the way, and I think there's an important message to take away from it. Don't you ever give up on your dreams, because you might be closer than you think you are. Yoppi went through years of auditions before getting her first role. After a dome performance, Yoppi went through years of a slump with barely any work. Just think of the mental resilience you'd need to withstand that kind of fall. And in the end, she found her star, Bocchi, and prevailed as a voice actress. Success did not come to her immediately. Success came after so many years of failure. I've been doing videos on this channel for about 3.5 years now. Some would say I'm in a decent spot. Some would say only having a few thousand subscribers after years is a complete and utter failure. But that doesn't matter to me. I love making videos. I love talking about my favorite anime. I want to be a YouTuber. I've wanted to be a YouTuber ever since I was a kid. So I've sworn to myself, even if this can't be a full-time job 20 years later, even if I have kids or have a drastically different life, I'll still be trying my best to make the best videos I can, trying to entertain you guys, trying to make this my life. So, to you watching this who also has a dream, think about the person you look up to the most right now. Think about Yoppi's life story. Your dream only ends when you decide that it ends. It's never too late to chase a dream that seems so far away. Success may not come quickly, but your hard work will all pay off one day. So, I urge you, go for it. I'm on your side.